right, so beginning in a supine position this morning. We have our chairs nearby. Let's see, I'm gonna bring a chair over here by you. Somebody said that one's broken. Oh, wait. Oh, here's yours. So everyone has chairs nearby just in case at any point during the practice you'd like to give your body just a little bit more support. So from our supine lying position, let's place both hands on the belly and become aware of that intimate connection between the breath and the body, practicing some deep belly breathing. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling from the nose as much as possible, knowing that at any time you could always inhale through the nose or the mouth. Just keep breathing. Check in with any sensations in your neck, shoulders, head, jaw. If you know that you're prone to tension in the jaw, maybe even you have been known to grind your teeth at night or experience like ringing in the ears, I recommend that you exhale from your throat a few times. And exhale as if you're going to fog a mirror to release tension from the throat, from the jaw, from the head, neck, and shoulders. Inhaling deeply into the belly, exhaling with that heavy ha breath. That ha breath, we allow the breath to be audible. We can begin to listen for the quality of the breath, perhaps beginning to exhale in a way where that ha breath seems very like super fluid. It's just nice and smooth as we manage and control the way that the muscles contract to bring that air up and out from the body. Using this time as we're breathing, feeling, and listening to the body, we're using the breath to let go of any judgment, any expectation, or any competition from our bodies. Our intention is to stay present, to stay in the present moment, known as Atta, now. Remembering as we move through our practice, you can change your mind anytime. Be still when the body wants stillness. Move when the body wants to move. There's really no wrong choice to make when we listen to our bodies and we learn from our bodies. If you know that there are places in your body that are healing, maybe places that have a history or a story to tell. If your body brought in any history today, breathe into those places that maybe need a little more attention or a little more tender, loving care. When in doubt, at any time in the practice, if there is a doubt, move towards comfort. Move towards comfort. It is possible sometimes for us to notice distracting sensations in the body, and it could be physical discomfort or even emotional discomfort. It is only for each of us to decide if that discomfort or that sensation is something that we want to study and stay with or move through, or knowing for ourselves, is that a sensation? Is that the body saying no? At any time, if we're not sure, move towards comfort. Keeping the breath nice and easy in the body. Let's take our time to introduce just a little bit of movement. So we may want to work from the bottom up, checking in with the soles of the feet. No matter where you are, wiggle your toes. We could even try spreading them out like a duck. And maybe we even roll the ankle out a little bit wherever we are. Let's bring that energy up into the knees. We may want to bend one knee at a time. Placing our feet down on the floor, we can sway the knees just a little bit left and right. So wherever we think our largest range of motion is, maybe just move with half your effort or even less. So I'm going to suggest that as we move forward in our class today, that we continue to check in with how much energy we are investing into physical movement. And instead, maybe just work with a third or half of your effort. From that gentle sway, let's come to a still point. We can draw both knees in towards the chest, knees together or knees wide. We'll hold on to the backs of the thighs and roll out the ankles. So maybe just a little more movement in the feet and ankle joints. If there's any excessive fluid on those joints, fluid that can cause tightness, fluid that can prevent mobility, we're just working with some gentle movement to maybe get some of that fluid off of the joints. That way we're able to take advantage of a little more mobility in these joints. Let's bring our knees to neutral and let our feet come down to the floor. From here, raising the arms up where we can see them, let's open and close our hands a few times, making a fist and then spreading out the fingers. Almost like a starburst type action. We may want to go ahead and roll out the wrist or flatten the palm and then extend it out. So really, any part of the body can hold on to excessive fluid. It is, though, usually like the wrist and the ankles where we will see a lot more pooling of that energy, especially if you're having to work at a desk or sit a lot during the day. So we're just paying extra attention to introducing a little bit of sensation and encouraging some circulation in these joints before we put excessive pressure on these joints. From here, we can reach one or both arms back behind us, getting a gentle stretch in the armpits. And maybe we bend the elbows in towards the waist, hovering the hands over the floor, almost like our moonflower arm expression from supine. As we inhale, we can reach the arms, maybe even touch the thumbs or the hands together overhead, assuming in a position much like a diver, having the hands overhead, stretching the fingers. And then maybe we find an exhale and we bend the elbows and bring the elbows in towards the waist. We can flow this a few times, either one arm at a time or both arms, inhaling the arms overhead, and then exhale, bringing the elbows in towards the waist. This can feel very different from supine versus standing. We may even begin to notice some different sensations in our shoulders. Let's take the elbows in towards the waist, and now slowly bring the hands in front of your chest, palms together in Anjali Mudra.
And when you're ready, inhale, inhale. Open the palms, open the elbows. And then exhale, squeeze it in. Squeezing with the muscles that are in the chest region, connecting to the shoulders and the neck. Inhaling to open, exhaling and squeezing in. We could always do one arm at a time, breaking down or dissecting that movement. That way we're able to pay special attention to one side of the body at a time. So maybe noticing any subtle differences from the left to the right. Ready, let's allow those arms to come down towards the floor. The elbows are still in towards the waist with the palms up. And maybe we rest the elbows on the floor with the elbows in close to the waist. And we just simply pivot on the elbow, lifting the palms away from the floor. Maybe moving through a range of motion where the palms touch the floor while the elbows stay bent and the fingertips would be facing our feet. As we inhale, we can hover those palms over the floor, maybe even creating almost a 90-degree angle of the wrist to the elbow to the shoulder, and then rotating the palms back, palms up, and maybe the knuckles touch the floor behind us. Inhaling, slowly lifting the hand, exhale to lower down. Inhaling to hover and lift. Exhale, slowly taking it back. And maybe just one or two more, or one arm at a time again. So if we notice the sensations in our body, are we moving in such a way where we're able to take time to observe any subtle shifts, any differences from left to right? The slower we go, chances are there's more to become aware of in the practice. Let's come to any still point with those arms. Maybe take the hands onto the belly. Let's draw just the left knee in towards our chest, and we can always hold on to the back of the thigh. From here, let's point our left toe. Then straighten the left leg as much as possible with that toe pointed towards the ceiling. And maybe check in with the left hip, pressing that left hip down into the floor. From here, we may begin to flatten the foot, pushing up through the heel. So we're targeting specific insertion points for muscle groups that are in the leg to discover where the tightness could be, especially with the calves. It could be behind the knee or it could be behind the ankle. Let's point the toe again. Bending our left knee in towards the chest. Let's flatten our foot. So now we're stretching that insertion point behind the ankle. And now start to straighten the leg, moving into that insertion point behind the kneecap. And just noticing if there are any different sensations by changing up the approach, just changing the angle of the foot. Are we becoming aware of any different sensations? From here, soften the whole leg. Let's bring the knee to the chest, allowing the foot to just be in any neutral position. We could always take our left hand on top of that left knee and place the right hand down on your right hip. Let's take that left knee out to the side just a little bit, pushing down on the right hip. If there's any tightness across the abdomen, the pelvis, or the belly, if we've ever had any sort of abdominal surgery where there could be scar tissue buildup, we want to move real slow with this and anchor that energy in the right hip. Notice your right knee. Maybe press the right knee in just a little bit so we prevent deactivating the muscles in the pelvis. We're going to press down into the inner blade of the right foot, Press in with that right knee, just with a bit of effort, so we stabilize the pelvis while we open the thigh. Let's bring that knee to neutral. And then slowly take that foot down to the floor. From here, let's lift our right knee, holding on to the sides or back of that leg if it's comfortable. At this point, you could even put the left hand down on the left hip if you're feeling a lift in the hips. Let's point our right toe, and when you're ready, straightening the leg, keeping a little kink in that right knee so we keep healthy circulation through the limbs. When you're ready, flattening the foot, pushing up through the heel, and just noticing where the sensations may be a little more magnified in the body. Do we have more sensation in the side of the leg, the inside, the back of the leg? Knowing that there's no right or wrong answer to this, it's a matter of just getting to know how movement can change the way we feel. Let's point our toe, bend the knee. From here, we'll start with a flat foot with the knee deeply bent to the chest. Then push up through that heel. So we're already lengthened through the Achilles. And then slowly beginning to point the toe. And just noticing any subtle shifts, any subtle changes in the stretch. You may notice changes in the ankle, changes in the knee, the thigh, the quadricep. Let's bend our right knee. Allow that right foot to relax. Taking the left hand onto the left hip. Let's slowly let that right knee come out to the side. Just very tiny open stretch through the hip. Being aware of the left foot, pushing into the inside blade of the left foot, and maybe pressing that left knee in. Feeling that we're only moving that left knee in maybe a millimeter worth of movement. So the movement is going to be more about our sheer will to activate that inner thigh muscle on the left. The right leg is focused on range of motion. The left leg is dynamic tension or isometric contraction. Holding it here with that right leg out in our abduction. Pressing down to the left hip, feeling that the tailbone is able to center and stabilize the energy in our bodies. When you're ready, let's bring that right knee to center. Lowering both feet down to the floor. Let's let the knees sway left and right a little bit again. So maybe just half of our effort in this twist. Let's allow our whole body to move in the direction of that sway so that we can lie down on our sides for a moment, capturing the breath in the backs of the lungs. When you're ready, let's press up. And as we press up, we're just going to gently swing our legs around to the front of our mat. We can always stay with both knees deeply bent. You can have the knees narrow if this is comfortable, or if you want, walk the feet out a little bit. So sometimes we just need to position the body to make space for mobility. So at any time if we feel like we need to make some space, that way we're able to be more mobile with our ribs and stomach, you can take those feet out really wide. If you're more comfortable turning sideways on your mat, sometimes this is more comfortable because you can take the feet out wider and you don't have to put your foot on the floor, your feet on the floor. Sometimes the floor can just be kind of dirty. So if you don't want to have your feet on the floor, feel free to turn in any direction that feels right for you. From here, we're moving into a very gentle expression of a seated cat and cow. Let's come forward on the inhale. Maybe we get the ribs between the thighs. We can keep our chin down, introducing that extension in the abdominal wall first,
pulling the ribs forward and up. We might shift our gaze to look ahead. Check in with the head, neck, and shoulders. Notice any sensations in your upper back. Maybe lift the chin a little more, and then pause and notice if the sensations change at all. As we exhale, let's relax our head and neck first, neutral in the cervical spine. Then draw the belly button in. And you might rock along your sits bones or along your tailbone, or you could keep the hips completely stable the whole time and just move your belly. From here, let's inhale, coming forward with the abdomen, last of all, lifting the head. Exhale, let's relax the head, and then pull the belly back. Adding in a breath to possibly relieve tension in the spine. Let's inhale through the nose as we come forward. And then exhale, stick your tongue out like lion's breath. Let's try a couple more. Inhale. Exhale. Moving nice and slow. Plenty of opportunity to isolate or dissect different parts of the spine so that we can stabilize those places that are craving stability in us, and then move those places that are craving movement. Now, if you're feeling like maybe the hips are locked in this, or maybe your tailbone is locked up in this, it could be because the floor is hard and our tailbones, the coccyx, it's not meant to be a weight-bearing bone, ever. If you want, you can try this. Most of you have a pretty good squishy mat. You're welcome to take your mat from lengthwise and then coil it up. See if it'll coil up for you a little bit. And you want to keep the middle of it open on your mat. And y'all are definitely welcome to watch me first if this is new for you. And then what you can do is try sitting on this so that your tailbone actually is hovering over the floor now, and there's absolutely no pressure in the tailbone now. You will have the mat cushioning along the sits bones, and it's going to help to separate the intergluteal cleft area. That's the proper anatomical term for the buttocus coraceus. So you're welcome to try this just to see if that creates more or less comfort. There are some physical postures and physical evaluations that we do that sometimes we want to do seated for the sake of safety, but even seated can be really uncomfortable. You can even add in the same technique on a chair. Personally, my favorite thing to use is one of those neck pillows. That's the quickie way to get this done, is a neck pillow. But, you know, finding ourselves as such resourceful beings, you can try this. This can also be done with a blanket, just rolling up a blanket or a beach towel and, you know, make it look like a big Tootsie Roll and then coil it up and then sit on top of that. And of course, we all have like some different mats, so it might feel very different, but just notice how that feels. Anything different for anybody? More or less comfort? Got a million ways to work with a yoga mat, y'all. I'm brilliant. Queen of props. Now let's try it here. So we might find that, you know, you're able to have more mobility this way. We might feel more like Weebles. You remember the Weeble people? Weebles, the toy? Okay. Little eggs. Okay, so like a little egg, we're just gonna weeble, wobble back and forth. Exhale, rounding the spine. Inhale, coming forward. And maybe we're able to find that there's more of a hip hinge now. Don't weeble off, Mary. Inhaling forward. Exhaling back. Let's notice the feet in this as well. So you may want to flex the feet and add in a little more movement with the
feet while you flex and float. So we might point the toes as we flex the spine, and then come in and go into dorsiflexion, flatten the feet as you come forward, point the toes, exhale, flatten the feet, inhale. And of course, you could always try the opposite and notice if that changes anything. Noticing how the position of the feet may create more or less stability for us. Do we feel more or less balanced when we change the way that our feet are angled? This may help us tune into some of our footwear and how that could be affecting us during the day as well. Let's do maybe one more of each. Feels right for you, let's just come to neutral, take the knees over to one side, and you're welcome to stay on the carpet if this feels right for your body, or go ahead and stretch out your yoga mat. Doesn't matter what direction you're going with this, whatever hand is closest to your body right here on the mat, wherever you're able to lean into, we're going to refer to that as your inside arm, and you can even angle so that that inside arm is facing more the top of your yoga mat. So we'll just see what your body chose here. I'm not going to cue it for left and right. Whatever arm is facing the back end of your mat, that's that outside arm. Let's inhale, sweeping that arm up as far as the body permits, reaching towards the sky. And as you exhale, maybe lower that elbow down and rotate just a little bit at the waist. Pause, notice any sensations or shifts with that lumbar to thoracic twist. Maybe you go a little more. Maybe you exhale, Uddiyana Bandha, pull the navel in and up. And then maybe we get a tiny bit more rotation with it. From here, moving it into the shoulder girdle, we might rotate through more thoracic. And then maybe we walk our hands down on our mats to our elbows and hold it here. Noticing any sensations in the connecting tissues from your shoulder. Pick a shoulder to the opposite hip. It doesn't matter which shoulder. Just notice either your left shoulder to the right hip or the left shoulder to the right, right to the left. You're welcome to walk all the way down with the hands onto the floor. We could use our hands, placing the forehead on the hands, or we can turn our head in a direction, so it may go in the direction of the twist, working with a deep spiral line of energy in the body. Or maybe we turn our head the other way. There's no right or wrong with this. Just working with the body, working with its natural energies. Let's breathe into those spaces around the shoulder blades and the heart. Noticing that intimate connection between breath and body. Maybe we notice if we're holding any tension along the waistline. That could be tension over the liver, or even tension over the intestines and belly. Now, if this feels good to your body, I'm going to recommend that you stay here a little longer. Surely we don't need all the same thing in any yoga practice. If you think you want to experiment with the other side, take your time, slowly lifting the head and using the elbows and the arms to prop ourselves up just a little bit. And again, you don't have to move, especially if you find that sweet spot where there's a release or where there's no pain.
If you want to switch sides, this is one of the easiest ways to switch sides. Walk the hands in, and then turn towards the back of your yoga mat, letting the knees sway to the other side. From here, let's take our outside arm and inhale, creating as much length as possible between the vertebrae so that the disc has plenty of room to expand and stay nice and spongy in the body. Inhale into that upper lung region. When you're ready, exhale, let's lower that arm, rotate just a little bit. So maybe it's a third or half of your effort. You can add in Uddiyana Bandha, exhale, belly in and up. Maybe a little more rotation at the waist. And then adding in a little more rotation with that upper rib and thoracic spine.
I didn't turn right. I should back when
It happens. It happens.
Yeah.
You got it? Okay. Walking the hands down. Now, maybe you just move the hands just half an inch and then we pause. Pause to reflect with the body. So wherever we feel our maximum range of motion is, approaching the posture with only a third or half the effort, pausing for introspection, and then of course, depending on what we're hearing from our bodies, making decisions based on that feedback from the body. We might come all the way down to the floor and rest the head on our hands. You can turn your head to the left or the right. Reposition one or both arms at any time. And of course, you could even straighten one or both legs if you think that this might create more comfort. Now, I will say, if you straighten both your legs, you're probably going to roll over onto your stomach, and that's okay. Maybe that happens, and maybe we notice, wow, laying on my belly is comfortable. Laying on the belly could create some relief for the body. Let's notice where the breath is along the backs of the lungs and start to really be aware of any other sensations, any other chatter in the back, around the hips. Being aware of these spiraling lines of energy that move from one shoulder to the opposite hip. Checking in, asking the body, inquiring with the body, do you want to stay here or do you want to move? And if your body is curious to do a little more movement, let's take our sweet time, slowly repositioning the head and neck, slowly using our arms to come up about halfway. So we move into the pose with a third to half the effort. We come out of the pose with a third to half the effort also. Walk the hands in nice and slow. And from here, we can roll over into all fours, finding a foundation for either down dog or child's pose, allowing your body to choose for you. From wherever we are, let's practice a few long exhales. Maybe it is a sinking breath where the exhale is longer than the inhale. You can stretch it out. Maybe it's that ha sensation again. As we soften the jaw, we might notice that the hips relax a little more. Absolutely no effort in this. When it feels right for you, let's consider how we may want to make our way up into standing. And if you're maybe wanting just a little more guidance today, we can always look between the hands, shift forward, taking one foot forward. So to take that foot forward, sometimes it's more comfortable to take the leg out to the side a little bit and then walk the foot closer to the arm. And from here, we can put one hand up on the thigh and then come up. So you could have the thigh open, or you could bring it a little more to center. either way. From here, we can tuck our back toe, lift the knee, and we might step forward, bringing both hands to the legs or anywhere up on the leg away from the knees, and then slowly come up to standing. So coming up with that wider lunge sometimes is helpful, especially if we know we want to keep some space for the belly and the ribs. That can be nice. From here, let's find any standing position for our bodies, and we're just going to take this into a gentle rotation. So wherever we suspect, again, that our maximum range of motion is, maybe we just do half that effort, just half. So we're introducing rotation from the soles of the feet, up through the knees, the hips, the chest, the shoulders, neck and head. Maybe close the eyes and tune into the sensations of the feet first. And notice that arthrokinetic chain, that energy that comes from the earth's support. We are able to initiate the effort in the soles of the feet. And as you move slowly, tune into that rotation. Thinking about spiraling from the feet up to the crown of the head. Maybe one more twist with this. Noticing any parts of the body that respond by way of physical sensations. And do those sensations say the body likes this, or do those sensations say I want a little more attention? When you're ready, let's take the feet out to about hips width. As we inhale, sweeping the arms up and overhead, stepping the left foot back, a short stride for warrior one, and bending that right knee. From here, let's relax our head, our neck, our chin. Let's find all of the possible opposing energies that exist right here, right now in the body. Where shifting forward, where is an energy that can shift back? We're reaching up. Where's the energy that presses down? As we inhale, we open and expand. Maybe even we squeeze the buttocks muscles to feel an energy that spirals out from the thighs. What might press in? We can spiral the thighs out and still press the knees in. Tuning into those elements of Hatha, sun and moon energies, opposite energies that coexist, that come together to create balance, equanimity. When you're ready, let's open into a casual warrior two. We might want to lengthen out the stride a little bit. Again, just considering where is your max range of motion, where is your maximum effort, and what happens when you do just half, or even less than half. What happens? What happens is that energy is channeled into other places. Your brain might get busier. That's okay. Your breath might change. Your ability to watch might be a little more magnified. Anything can happen here. Let's find opposing energies here as well. If we're reaching out through our fingertips, what might be pulling in? Maybe we think of dragging that right heel back and pulling the inside blade of the left heel in. Again, the thighs might spiral out, but we press in with the inside of that right knee just a little bit while we squeeze the right glute. Lengthening through the crown of the head, pressing down into the soles of the feet, and still feeling length from the belly button up to the crown of the head. Taking this into side angle, taking our right elbow or hand onto our thigh. Let's shift our hips back a little bit. And you're welcome to reach with that left hand, or maybe just for today, what happens if we put the hand on our hip or even down by the low back? Establishing a soft gaze with a gentle rotation in the neck and head. Option to take this into triangle pose, straightening the right leg. Maybe we keep the elbow or hand somewhere on the leg, or travel that hand down to meet the floor, or any yoga prop that you want to bring into your practice. Pressing down into the outer blade of the left foot and back. Imagine that there's a little bit of cow pose here, so maybe we unhinge the hips back, push the belly a little bit forward, and maybe there's a little bit of a side bend where we contract our left rib towards the left hip, or we open that right armpit over the right knee. When you're ready, let's soften that right knee, slowly coming up to our casual warrior two expression. Bringing hands to the hips, turning our right toe in and the left toe out, facing the back edge of our mat. It's okay if you cannot see me. We're all about the feeling in this. Same sequence on the other side. Inhaling into warrior one. You can always change your feet a little bit if you want. Maybe create a shorter stance. Tuning into maybe some different energies this time. Maybe being aware of an energy that anchors your right heel down into the floor, and that energy moves up through the back of the right ankle to the back of the right knee, up the back of your right thigh, and then it goes to the front of the right hip. Now feel from the right hip, through the belly button, up to the left armpit. Feel that energy spiral around your left arm and move out the left fingertips. So we're stretching all the way from that right heel, diagonal through the body, out the left fingertips. Let's notice the breath. When you're ready, opening to your casual warrior two expression, maybe lengthening the stride a little bit. Whatever we think our body was doing on the other side, maybe we do something different on this side. And if you feel that urge to put a lot of effort into it, then do it. But maybe every once in a while say, what's it like to do half? So this is practicing moderation, brahmacharya in all things. If you like, take it into side angle, bringing a left hand or elbow to the left thigh. Check in with that right arm. Where might it want to go? If we're reaching overhead, just checking in. Are we doing that because it's habit? Even the practice can become habit in nature. There are certain sequences or certain postures we do in our vinyasa that we just keep doing the same way, out of habit. Take this into triangle pose, straightening the left leg, maybe finding a different way to express the pose today. And that difference may not always be physical in nature. Maybe the difference is, where is the mind in this pose? Find the energy of a triangle in both of the feet. That's the base, drawing a line from heel to arch. And then pull that energy up the inner thighs to your belly button, creating a triangle shape in the body. Let's find that triangle shape across the shoulders. We can draw a line from the left to the right shoulder. And then to a point in your low back. When you're ready, let's soften that left knee, rising up to easy warrior two. Turning both toes forward. Let's take it in with the feet, heel to toe, and relax the arms. Let's shake off the body to meet at the top of our mat. From here, lowering our gaze, anchor the gaze. Let's bring our hands to the heart. Press with the thumbs. Press with the left thumb first, noticing how much pressure we can sense with that thumb, and try to match that pressure with your right thumb. So you're matching the way that your body is interpreting the pressure with the hands. So as we press with the left thumb, it's the right brain that's working, and then we press with the right thumb, left brain working. And just notice where you need to maybe back off a little bit, maybe release some of that pressure with the right, then match the left. The body may just naturally exert more effort on one side than the other. And this is just a subtle exercise to work on awareness of those energies. Let's gaze down towards the floor or past the tip of our nose, finding a point somewhere that is still, somewhere where there's a place that can steady our gaze. Let's take our energy over into one leg, allowing your body to choose for you, webbing out the toes, lifting a knee. And maybe taking whatever knee is lifted, taking that hand down. We might hold on behind the thigh. We might press that knee back, and maybe we hold on to the outside of the ankle or onto our pant leg even. You can point or flex your toe. Now, in instances where we know we have maybe some tenderness in the knees, I recommend keeping the foot flat. This tightens the muscle along the tibia to your patella, to your knee bone or kneecap, and this can help to stabilize the knee while the hip is stretching. Notice your other hand. Does it want to stay at the heart? Does the palm want to go flat? Maybe we bow out the chest a little bit. Maybe we take that hand up overhead or to the waist. Let the body interpret the posture inspired by the breath. No matter where we are, we refer to this as Natarajasana, dancer's pose. Keeping a little bend in that standing leg so the energy continues to flow. Communication from the earth up through the feet. Of course, at any time, you're welcome to work on closing your eyes, noticing how that can change the posture. When we close our eyes, you'll probably get wobbly. That's part of the process. What happens when we do things on purpose to take us out of perfection, to take us out of stillness? It's possible to do things, to make choices in our lives, to take us out of a still place or out of a perfect place so that we can grow and we can learn. We can do that today, even in our practice. And maybe you fall. Hey, you've fallen before. At some point, we all had to learn how to walk, and in that process, we fell. But a lot happened. A lot of learning happened in that. When you're ready, soften the whole body. You're welcome to keep working on that one side. When it comes to balancing or centering ourselves, we're going to let go of the notion that everything you do on the left, you have to do it on the right. Not true. Not true. There's an imbalance. Something needs more. Something needs less. Let's try the other side if you want. Soften through the knees. Web out the toes. Another little trick that I like is activation of the arches of the feet. So maybe we web our toes out and just try lifting your big toe while you push the balls of the feet down into the floor. There are different arches in the feet. There's 3 that we learned about in anatomy, and we're working on the inside arch so we can, kind of like an octopus sucker, we're just trying to get that connection of Padabandha to the earth. When you're ready, relax your toes. Let's shift into that other leg. Energy of the arch stays lifted, connection to the earth. Lifting that knee, we can bring our hand to our thigh, or maybe to a pant leg or an ankle. Keep the foot flat if there's any tenderness in the knee. If you've ever had a patella shift or slipped a meniscus or any knee replacement even, you may want to have more of a flatter foot. Establishing our gaze, drishti, bowing out the chest a little bit, rolling the shoulders down and back, and noticing where the hands want to go with this. You're welcome to close the eyes, allowing the body to feel its way through the posture. Shake things up, shake it up. If we want change, we need to shake it up a little bit. So sometimes just closing the eyes is enough to shake things up for us. Staying for maybe 2 or 3 more easy breaths. When you're ready, take your time and come out. Let's kick off the legs, shake off the arms. If you want, grab a sip of water. Let's make our way down onto the floor. So I have been demonstrating the transition of standing to seated in a way that is different from level 1. And this is something that is newer content in the seniors training. So if it's been a while since you had that one-day seniors training, this is in there now. It's part of our section that addresses ADLs, activities of daily living. So being able to get up and down off the ground is something that we might want to keep in our lives, right? Especially if you want to get up and down to pick things up or just play with your grandkids, right? So to come down to the floor, if you do have a chair, it is often helpful to have some sort of a prop, and we usually recommend this, and most people have this when they're at home, right? If you're going to use this at your house, most people have something nearby, like a bed, an ottoman, a chair, a desk, a countertop. So what you would do is place one or both hands on that prop, and it could be a wall even. We take one leg back, start to slowly come down, and then we may walk that other foot away to take it back behind us. And then from here, bringing one hand down and the other hand down. And from there, we can swing the feet over and then sit back. Now from that seated position that we've already practiced, that's where we can begin to practice that trunk rotation where we turn just a little bit and walk our hands down to the floor. Many paths, one destination. At this point, we might decide we want to come down onto an elbow, and then we may want to straighten our legs out and use the feet to reposition to our side hip, and then using those hands to slowly guide ourselves down into lying on our sides. From there, we can roll over onto our backs and use the feet and the legs, the largest muscles in the body, to reposition the body to where we feel centered on our mat.
If you're craving a little more movement at this time, go ahead and let your body move in any natural way. From here, we're going into guided meditation and relaxation. I am going to get up and turn off this large top light, so if you sense movement in the room, it's me. I'm walking over to turn off the light. Let's imagine that there is an orb of light and energy that moves into the left foot, into the sole of your left foot. And as you inhale, trace that energy, trace that light up your left leg, all the way into the left hip, then bring it across to your right shoulder. And as you exhale, open the palm of your right hand and release that light, release that energy. Cycling this energy through the body a few more times, either seeing this orb of light or having a sense of a warm wave of energy, or just a knowing with imagination and with suggestion. Warm gold light moving into the left foot, up the left leg into the left hip, moving across the belly to the right shoulder. And as we exhale, this energy leaves out the palm of the right hand. And you might even open your right hand just a little bit to let it go. Then relax the right hand. Be aware of the sole of the left foot. This energy moves up from the earth. It bubbles up, pops out of the earth, and there it is, just by your left foot, absorbing this light, this warm, healing energy into the left foot, up the left leg to the left hip, diagonal across to the right shoulder, and then exhale, open the palm of the right hand just a little bit and let that energy go. We may want to stay with this energetic cleansing through this particular energy channel, or you could shift. You could shift over to the right side of the body, being aware of the sole of the right foot, absorbing this warm gold light in through the sole of the right foot, up the right leg to the right hip, sensing that that energy sweeps over across the trunk of the body to your left shoulder. And as you exhale, maybe open the left hand just a little bit to release that energy. Cycling that through the body a couple more times, inhaling through the right up to the hip, across the belly to the left shoulder, and then exhale, the energy leaves out the left arm, out the palm of the left hand. We may want to stay here on this side. If you would like to add a little bit more onto this, maybe we sense an energy that moves into the soles of both feet. Two orbs of light, warm gold light entering into the soles of the feet, moving up to the hips. And then we sense that energy shifts, intersecting at the belly button, going to opposite shoulders. And as we exhale, that energy leaves out the palms of both hands.
Now, you don't have to move. If you think that your body has had enough of lying on the floor, please invite just some bits of movement into your body so that you can eventually think of adding in bigger movements and maybe even consider coming up into seated. But you don't have to move. We're going to take a break after this, so if your body is comfortable, just hang out where you are. We have plenty of time. Again, we all have very different lives. We may have slept differently last night. We've had different activities. So maybe your body needs to get up now. Maybe your body says it just wants to embrace stillness. Let it be whatever it is in this moment with this breath. Remind yourself, I know what is right for me. I trust my body. I trust the sensations in my body. We can bring our hands over the chest or keep the hands down on the floor. From here, we're going to close together today. I thank you so much for joining me in this practice. Let's draw in a breath. And then let it go. Namaste, everybody. Again, you don't have to get up. We're going to take a 10-minute break now so you can just chill out.